everyone. My name is Tina Dela Cruz of Hosted by Tina, and this is another one of my videos. Today's video will talk about some questions brought up by subscribers from my last video on resume writing. Before I answer all those questions, let me simply give everyone my biggest thank you for the subscription, for the thumbs up, and for viewing my video on resume writing. I hope you guys will be able to share them with friends and kids, most especially if they are now in the process of talking about resume writing, especially in their English classes. Well, to start with our first question, one of my subscribers asked, do we need to include the line, sorry, I'm reading from another screen. Do we need to include the line, references available upon request at the end of the resume? Right, I know that we have all been oriented with such practice of either declaring 3 references at the end of our resume or putting that line, references available upon request. In modern resumes though, please understand that if your interviewers finally put through or put the application forward to the HR, and if you have passed all the preliminaries of interviews and your application, your employer would surely ask you for at least 3 references. So the request for your references would surely be done by your employers, especially if you are, in the last or the latter part of the application process. So again, let me go through the principle that I have mentioned in my first video, that if this line would push you to another page, then, might as well not include it at all. All right, so moving on, we have another question here about resume. All right, what can you say about resumes with colored columns, bars, and headings? Well, talking about the visual aspect of your resume, modern resume actually include those colored columns and bars and lines and even charts and headings would actually help you channel your interviewer's attention to the very first few parts of your resume that you would like them to notice. Say, for example, your column that talks about your skills. I know that in my first video, I talked about skills that may not have a direct contribution for the position that you are applying for. In this case, this is the best way for you to direct their attention to that subsection of your resume that talks about other skills. Maybe you are also wondering about those colored headings because, way back then, resumes are just plain colored, like black. Well, that was when people were simply using manual typewriters for their resume and not the colored printers that we have now. Well, with the colored headings, my take on that is for as long as your colors stay on the pastel side of the color spectrum, I don't have anything against it. I believe other experts won't have anything against that either. Also, something that's been changing how we lay out and how we present resumes are the colorful charts. Mostly you would see these colorful charts in the subsection that talks about your skills. You would see gauges or line graphs or bar graphs to indicate how proficient you are in a specific skill. I don't have anything against that either. That would actually direct your interviewer's attention to the very section that you would like them to notice at once. All right, I hope that answers the question well. And again, moving on to the third, we have here is putting a line between your signature and your printed name correct. Well, I know that this has also been the practice of earlier resume writers or composers. However, if you are familiar with forms that would simply say signature over or above your printed name, well, that's the principle that we would like to follow here. Simply print your name, and on top of that, directly on top of that, you affix your signature, and that's it. No need for any line. I am very sure that you have that printed name as your guide at the bottom to make that signature as straight as you can when you finally sign the document. Okay, so no need for another line on top of your printed name directly below your signature. So again, that's your printed name and your signature. And so we now come to the last question for the resume writing, for the part one rather of our resume writing. Before I read to you that last question and answer that, please don't forget to like this video, share it to your friends. I hope that this will greatly help you, especially for our dynamic job seekers. And also subscribe in my channel, and don't forget to click on that notification bell. Right, so this last question goes like this. Is your objective statement the only way to introduce your resume? I really like this particular question because even during the first video that I made, I felt that I should have explained this a little further. This is now my opportunity to discuss this. Let's try to look back in how we did or how we composed the objective part of our resume. We, for sure, took mention of the skills that we thought could address the skills needed by the company who put up the need for hiring people. And also we did not fail to mention the position that we are trying to apply for, which of course would obviously match the skills that we have already mentioned in this section. Also, we particularly mentioned the name of the company. This is to make the interviewer feel that we are personalizing our application and not just one generic resume for all the companies. With those principles in mind, let's now talk about profile summary. Other people would call profile summary as qualification summary or overall qualifications. It doesn't really matter what you call it or how you label it in your resume, but what matters is the same principles to be applied in your profile summary. Number one, again, we need to declare specifically those skills that we think would directly address the need of the company. Next, to mention not the position that we're applying for, but the positions that we have held in the past. In that way, our interviewer and the hiring managers would see that we are capable of handling the same level of position. And also try to slightly mention the top company that you have worked for. Obviously, this is the company where we think we performed at the best of our ability, so that when we give the names of our colleagues or our supervisors and managers who we would want to put in the references later on, they only have good words to put in for us. Okay, so that's pretty much the profile summary. Next to this clip is a sample of how you can present your profile summary. And again, I will be giving you the links to click down on the description below. Well, that's about it, ladies and gentlemen, for this video. Coming up will be the part 2 of our resume writing. And on that part, I will be talking about the functional resume and how it is different from the reverse chronological resume. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone, and have a great experience composing your reverse chronological resume for now. Again, this is Tina Dela Cruz of Hosted by Tina. Ta-da!